Hey, everybody. What the hell day is it? It's Monday.
It's Monday, yeah. It's weird. It kind of felt like Tuesday for a second.
It did, actually. That's why I was confused for a moment. But I was like, oh, no, I took out the garbage this morning, so it must be Monday.
Got the new shirt in there developing right now. Or the, what do you call it? The screen for it.
Hopefully it comes out this time.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, last time I had timing problems. It's a new solution that I'm using.
Yeah, it's like I ordered the same shit. I just ordered like a big one, but it's a different color than the last stuff, even though it said it was the same stuff that I bought last time.
It didn't come with the exact same, it didn't come with any instructions on development time. So I thought it'd be the same. But I'm using an LED light bulb, which might be a problem too, because it's very white. It's not a scattered yellowish light. You know? And it's unsure of the wattage.
So it's kind of like trial and error every time we get a new thing to see like how long to like expose it for. Fourth row down asks, does the Andromeda strain have grits in it?
No, but it should. There was a couple times where they showed some open refrigerators and I didn't see any grits.
Well, grits wouldn't be in the refrigerator. They would be in the pantry.
They'd be in the pantry, yeah.
They could have shown
you're not really supposed to reheat used grits.
No, they're not good. You kind of got to eat them like right when they get cooked.
When they cool, they kind of set up like concrete.
Yeah, and you can't really rescue them. I mean, you can.
You can kind of. You add a bunch of water to it and break them up and heat them back up again. Cook the water back out of them, but they're only a couple cents a cup. You know, why are you doing that? You know. Grits are cheap.
It is very easy to distract you, isn't it? Yeah. That's all we have to do is start talking about grits.
I'm going to put grits in the damn survival bin. I need some excess grits.
Yeah, we need extra grits.
I want grits in the number 10 can, indestructible.
Grits on top of grits.
Yeah.
Grits in your grits.
Fresh off the grit tree with grit gravy and grit juice. Sprinkled with grits.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So, do you want to talk about the Andromeda strain?
Yeah.
So, I think what happened with this one was that, as sometimes happens in the Patreon poll, like for the movie retrospective that everyone was voting on, there was a tie between the Andromeda strain and When a Stranger Calls. So I just decided, well, we'll do When a Stranger Calls for the retrospective. So we recorded that, and then we'll just do Andromeda strain as a live stream, because I could have fucking sworn that we had already done the Andromeda strain, because I know we watched it not too long ago, and I thought that we watched it to review it. But when I did a search through the channel, I was like,
wasn't there.
It wasn't there.
Andromeda strain is a very realistic movie. I saw it when I was a kid. It kind of freaked me out. Even though at the time I was probably only about 8 or 9, I couldn't grasp everything that happened in it. I just knew it was scary. And it was realistic. It's kind of like on the level of 2001, A Space Odyssey, where you're dealing with a lot of kind of dry military and intelligence kind of guys, and in a big emergency that's happening. It's a bio warfare event, and they get together a bunch of scientists to try to figure out what the hell kind of fucking bioweapon this is and how are they going to solve it. Starts out with the whole town out in the middle of the Southwest get wiped out. It went to Southwest?
Yeah, it was Piedmont, New Mexico. Was the name of the town, although they actually shot it in a little town in Texas.
Find all these guys go in there in biosuits and find all these civilians just dead in their tracks, you know. Some of them they found out later looked like they killed themselves. Went crazy and killed themselves. And there's 2 of them still alive, an old man and a little baby. And they have to go to this ultra secret underground
facility,
biodefense facility. It's like a laboratory to try to figure out what the hell kind of fucking biological agent this is and how it got there. And I don't know if we're ready to spoil it all of it, but
it's an old movie. I mean, the book, which is by Michael Crichton, came out in 1969, and the movie came out in 1971.
Yeah, so Crichton does a lot of cool shit. We've covered a lot of his movies.
Yeah, I mean, probably most famous for Jurassic Park, but you know, he did a fuck ton of other ones. They've adapted pretty much every one of that fucker's novels. This was kind of like one of his early ones. The interesting thing about this, I mean, because he's a medical doctor, or he was at least a med student, or he went through med school or whatever, and he's really, really, really into science and scientific accuracy, and particularly he was back then. And I think that he got the idea for the novel The Andromeda Strain from when they were talking about crystal-based life forms.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which kind of plays a big part in this. And the interesting thing about the novel, I've never read it, but I was like watching a couple of other things that talked about the book in particular. And it's almost kind of like, it's kind of like the book equivalent of like found footage. Yeah. He wanted it to be as realistic as possible, up to and including even putting a fake bibliography in there.
Yeah.
Like it has a fake bibliography. This was supposed to be a book that was talking about something that really happened. And he had charts in there. Like I said, he had a bibliography in there that was all fake, but sounded plausible and all this other kind of shit because he wanted it to be as realistic as possible. So this is kind of like the book and the movie are very much what I would call like hard sci-fi. This isn't one of those, Martians come to Earth and are blowing everyone up. This is very much like this weird thing is happening and now all these scientists are going to go through all of this rigmarole and experimentation to find out what's going on.
It shows it's very procedural. Yeah. And the procedures are very accurate with the intel community and fucking scientific community, how they get merged up with the military and contractors, agents that contract shit out, like how to build a secret facility. It's all in there. Now, spoiler alert, you find out pretty early, I guess it's kind of about halfway through it, you find out that this thing is extraterrestrial. They hint at it. Because but this pathogen is crystalline and it comes from space.
Yeah, it was on like a satellite that crashed or something like that. And because that's kind of what happens at the beginning. Like this satellite crashes and these guys go to retrieve it because this satellite crashed in this little bitty town and all these people drop dead and they couldn't figure out why. So then the two guys go to retrieve the satellite, but then they die. And then I think we lost the stream. Maybe. No? So. Okay. Well, I know I was worried about it because my chat like stopped a long time ago. Okay. So, so I don't know if it's going to... It's weird.
It hiccuped a little bit.
Okay. It's weird because we haven't really been having much problem with it lately.
Yeah.
I mean, shit, we went on for 6 hours Friday night and didn't lose it one single time.
One of the weird things about this crystalline pathogen is that it gets in there and fucks up your hemoglobin and turns your blood into a solid dust.
Yeah, it turns into like blood powder.
It turns into powder. That's how it kills you. And yeah, it's pretty neat.
I mean, the thing about this movie is that I kind of feel like this is one of those ones you're going to love it or you're going to hate it. Yeah. It's, as I said, it's very hard sci-fi, so it's not like super action-packed or anything. It's very much... It's very grounded and very science-driven. It's not even really character-driven, honestly. It's more like plot-driven. And you're just trying to... Like, these scientists are in this underground facility, and you're seeing them go through all of the shit that they have to go through to figure out what the nature of this pathogen is. How can we stop it? Because is it gonna like kill all of these people? And various other things. So there is kind of like suspense. There is kind of shit like that.
It's still going.
It's still going. Okay. Yeah. Just like let me know if it stops because my shit stopped. But so it's very much like that. So I can see how if you're not really into that kind of thing, that people might think maybe it was kind of like quote unquote boring or slow, but I don't know. I thought it was like really cool because it's like a science mystery. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it also, to me, what was so what I liked about it is it shows how procedural military and government type operations are, especially if it involves things like bio warfare, weapons of mass destruction. Very, very structured. There's a whole system of safety imposed on everything, and security and secrecy. It gets into all that.
Yeah, so like I said, it's really interesting, and in a way, it's like it's really pro science because it's showing you. I don't want to say it's like it's showing you like the drudgery of science, but basically, it's showing you this is how you have to figure shit out. It's like it takes forever. It's not fun necessarily, but it's just kind of like we have to eliminate this. We have to eliminate this. We have to eliminate this because they don't know what this thing is, and they think it potentially could be dangerous, and they're trying to prevent it from getting out. So they're kind of just going through all of these procedures to figure out how to do that.
Yeah. That kind of shit didn't impress me as much because I kind of take that for granted that that's what you need to do. I liked all the supporting stuff. Like all the money that they had to spend to hide the fact that they built a facility. They get into that.
Yeah.
Because to build a facility leaves residue behind, tire tracks and debris. Then you have to spend money to erase the fact that anything was ever built in this location. There's
Right.
no roads going out to it. Shit, anything that could be seen on a satellite all has to be erased. And then when you get there, it does not look like a facility. It just looks like a damn sheriff's office.
Yeah, it was for a Department of Agriculture, and they had like grown all this barley out there to make it look like
it's got a total cover story. And when you go in there, you can't go, "Hey, I'm here because the secret mission has activated." You go in there and they got old fucking Andy Taylor sitting there. "Hey, how y'all doing?" Reading the newspaper, and you got to have a specific conversation with him that has nothing to do with anything.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, all right, and then he presses a fucking button, and there's the elevator that goes down.
It goes down to the secret
to the secret fucking facility. And then the shit, that's actually the way they do a lot of that shit, okay? And then the dudes that work at those kind of places are not being paid in the way that you would think that there's no pay stubs. There's no record of these guys ever fucking being employed. That's when you know you're fucking deep.
Well, yeah,
deep undercover.
Because all the scientists and doctors that they call, like the team that they call, like for whatever specific reasons, these are people that have been briefed on this secret facility, which is called Wildfire. Or I guess that's the name of the project and also the facility.
They don't know where it is or anything about it.
They don't know anything about it. Like they just know that at any time, if something happens, then they could be activated.
Yeah.
And that's what, like, the first part of the movie is just these random scientists and doctors, like the military showing up and being like,
"There's a fire.
Wildfire." And they're just kind of like, "Oh, shit."
No, they said there was a fire.
Yeah.
And they said, "Okay, I can't go right now because there's a fire." Remember that? And then the wife wouldn't let him in, and
we're having a party, goddamn.
Yeah, and they fucking got guns and shit, and they're like, "Look, he goes, we have to see your husband, and we're gonna come in.
Yeah,
if you don't bring him, we're gonna come in." So there's no choice.
Yeah,
they signed all these agreements and stuff, and you can't back out of it. They can use force to get your ass. The only way out of it is if you were sick.
Yeah, because one of the guys actually they did kind of
sick.
mention offhand.
Yeah.
The interesting thing about this, so Michael Crichton, this wasn't his first book. I think he'd written a couple before this one, but so he was a pretty well-known name, and like all his shit was, was getting adapted to movies like pretty consistently. Now, a lot of times they would let him adapt his own books, but in this case, this was actually directed by Robert Wise, who, fun fact, he directed West Side Story and The Sound of Music and a bunch of other things too, but he also directed one of my very favorite horror movies of all time, which was The Haunting. And he didn't really want Michael Crichton to, not in a shitty, asshole-y kind of way, but he's like, well, I kind of feel like when authors adapt their own stuff, oh my God, we just jumped right to sexual tyrannosaur?
There's a certain protocol that was
okay.
A certain protocol initiated.
Sexual tyrannosaur has been activated.
We'll see.
We'll see if that's been activated.
There might be a fire. Smell smoke.
All right, I like that. I like how that kind of ties in with the whole theme here.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he was like, well, I find that when authors adapt their own material, like a lot of times they're really resistant to any changes you want to make and stuff. So Robert Wise actually got Nelson Gidding, who he'd worked with before and who also wrote the screenplay for The Haunting, which obviously was an adaptation of the Shirley Jackson novel. And he got him to do the adaptation. Ironically, this movie is almost exactly like the book. It is even down to, because the book was so found footagey, like it was supposed to be like a real document, this is like declassified shit and here's like all the documents and everything. So they decided to do it like a documentary style. You know what I mean? So it does kind of have a little bit of that. Like I said, it does have a Kubrickian kind of shit going on too.
But it's split screen stuff.
Yeah, but which is actually kind of cool.
Yeah.
I kind of like the way they employed that.
Yeah, there's one scene where they're checking out fucking Ground Zero where the pathogen broke loose first, and they show in one screen they show them opening doors looking into apartments, and then they show in another screen what the dudes saw, and they're like dead dudes, little kids, people dead in front of the refrigerator. Just it's kind of cool how they did that, and they had kind of like, didn't they have like fucking martial music and shit with fucking snare drum?
Oh yeah, maybe now that I'm thinking about it.
While they were showing all that, it was kind of creepy.
Yeah, maybe they did have that.
Because they were on a mission. They were just fucking, and they're like real cold and calculated, just surveying who died.
Yeah.
And they're going, look at that. Oh, wow. You know,
Yep, dead people
because it's
everywhere.
just their job, you know.
And everybody just kind of dropped dead doing what they were doing.
Doing what they were
Another
doing.
fun fact, all of those dead people were people